This is The Culture.
All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Cinema Wave podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Mark Jacobino. I'm joined by Vinny Albano.
Hello.
And Mikey Pennison.
Hello, everybody.
And you know that means we're talking about animation. We're talking about Solo Leveling Episode 6, The Real Hunt Begins. And I think we're all very excited to talk about this episode because we get some very serious action from the boss battle to the absolute massacre that happens at the end of the episode. I do want to start with the end of the episode because I think that's the most significant moment, but I do just want to hear your overall thoughts on this episode, the evolution of the episode, and kind of where you were at by the end. Vinny, would you like to go?
Yeah, so this episode was cold. It was cold. Which is probably a word that we're going to be repeating a lot throughout this.
I know Mikey is.
Yeah, we saw going right into spoilers here.
Yeah.
We saw a side of Jin Woo that we have not seen yet. It's been alluding to. It's been foreshadowed. But he seriously goes in and he kills 6 humans. You know, these aren't goblins. These aren't creatures of the dungeon. These are real humans from the real world. And he takes 6 lives. And it's a very significant point. And they makes Jin Woo here like a complete demon. Like within the illustrations and within the storytelling here, you get a lot of like inner monologue as we're just kind of following his train of thought and how detrimental this really is, but it's almost not affecting him the way that he'd think it would. And it was crazy. It was crazy. Yeah. I think this entire episode from beginning to end was probably one of my favorite episodes of the show thus far. I think that the boss battle fight with the spider was excellently done. Some really cool animation, which we'll talk about. But yeah, those were my overall thoughts for episode 6.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I likewise felt the same way. I feel like we are seeing things that I just genuinely, honestly didn't expect to see at all. I was really going into this episode expecting it to be fully just like a boss battle sort of thing. And in my mind, I honestly didn't even think of the concept of Jin Woo even needing to kill a human being, to be honest. I don't know. We've talked a lot about morals and stuff throughout this, so I know that like he's kind of stood on those a lot. But it's so interesting to see it get worked into his leveling up sort of situation, like how he almost had to do it, you know, or else he would have died.
Yeah.
And so it's like a weird. This episode kind of. I love this episode first. Let me say that. But it was just so interesting, this episode, because I felt like it was like we really now got to see the states of what this sort of, I guess, ability. I don't know what the correct sort of. There is a word, the correct term for what he has taken on, but I don't know. It really is shown that like. How that I don't know, it's a lot darker than we think. And it's again, I felt like we got to see it all in like a really different way, and it was sudden, and I appreciated that. That we even got to see him have to do this. I feel like this was a very human thing, you know, in this world, and that they live in. So really appreciated even in like a world building sort of sense as well.
And this is like your first like anime rage moment that you saw, because you're not very familiar with anime. So like this ending, what did you feel when he was just like the switch flipped, the music started playing, and you got these really cinematic shots of him just killing people? Like, how did you feel as someone that's not like in the anime world too often?
I was pretty pumped up. I'm not gonna lie. I was it was like the moment where he was really knocked down, and like he like really was like self monologue, sort of like, oh snap, do I have to do this? Like, I know I do, but do I really have to do this? And then even just him doing it, it was like you said, like he like it was very like demonic, but like awesome at the same time. You know, it was
you got the dopamine hit.
Right, exactly. And it was just like the flawlessness with each kill was like he was like a villain but a hero, like the anti. I don't know.
Right.
It was.
Right.
I loved it. I loved it from a first time viewer experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. There's so much to dive into based on like what both of you said. I think thematically, you know, that theme of selflessness versus selflessness is just front and center with him here because he is fighting for his own life. Can you call that selfish? You know, taking a life to save your own life? Is he letting the power get to him to a point where it becomes, you know, for his own gain and less about surviving? I think there's a really interesting conversation to be had there. I think the animation, the particle effects, you know, the black kind of seeping off of him, the blue glow coming from his eyes and extending it in his movement. I think that's something I really wanted to see as someone who read the manhwa. Like I wanted them to really feed into the particle effects that are in the manhwa, and I thought they did a great job with that. Hiroyuki Sawano coming in with another great score piece to kind of emphasize this massacre that we're seeing. And yeah, the boss battle was really cool, but it wasn't even the main focus of the episode, which I think, like you, I was a little bit surprised by. I was like, I thought it would take up more of the episode, but the end of the episode was really the main point of where we wanted to get to. So yeah, do we want to talk about some of the animators and give them the shout outs they deserve before we dive into maybe the more meat and potatoes of this episode?
Yeah, so, you know, due to the recency of the episode, there's not been a lot of animators confirmed as of yet. However, there are two significant names that worked on this episode. One being Yoshihiro Kano, who animated multiple cuts throughout this episode. One of them being probably one of my favorite cuts, where Jin Woo is like, he is dashing towards the spider at first and like leaps and bounds atop of the spider and is kind of like spinning in the air, about to, you know, take the strike down on it. And that was animated by Yoshihiro Kano. Same with, you know, just Jin Woo hitting the legs of the spider. And it's, you know, I believe that was the point where he was talking about his armor, the spider's armor being very tough. Also, Takafumi Tori, who animated one of the dopest cuts. It's basically when Jin Woo uses his dash and like it's very, there's a lot of like cool foreshortening in this illustration where his foot is closest to the frame and it's like his body is extended outwards. His body glows yellow and he dashes towards the spider. And I'm watching the cut now and it's just super cool. And he's like underneath the spider's belly, bounces off the top of the ceiling, strikes down into the center point of its head, is doing backflips. Just some really awesome, snappy animation by Takafumi Tori here. Also, Takafumi Tori animated this clean martial arts scene with the chairman and like his assistant. Where it's just like, I remember watching the episode and it's, you know, the scene almost feels kind of out of place. But I was like, whoa, this is so, why is this like, this like kind of like, I don't know, maybe this plays more significance later on, but it felt almost throwaway. But I was like, this is so well animated. And, you know, they're in their gi uniforms kind of, you know, hitting each other. Really nicely done. But yeah, those are the two significant names I wanted to shout out. Nice. Just some really, I think we're really beginning to see like what this show could be capable of.
Yeah.
So
I agree. Yeah. I think this was like a really good showcase, you know, with the particle effects, with the cuts. But yeah, we like to shout out the animators here because we know the anime business has not been treating animators too well. I'm not sure what the situation is at A1 Pictures. They might be one of the good ones, but we do like to give them shout outs because sometimes they're not treated very fairly. But yeah, I do want to apologize for some points I made in previous episodes where I talked about like, oh, do you guys feel like the darkness within Jin Woo, as if I didn't read the manhwa? And then in this episode, I was like, why did I completely forget that he did this? And when I was watching it, I think, you know, in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, you know, maybe in that moment, I was like, these guys are bad people. They were going to kill him. So I didn't see it like as a really dark moment. It definitely was. And he does end up killing 6 people. But I think in my head, I was just like, oh, the art is so beautiful. These are bad people. And I you know, maybe the medium of animation, it clicked a little better for me. I was like, oh, this is like a really intense moment. And I did, you know, what you did with, I think, JJK, where I went back and read through the manhwa chapter again after this. And they did a really good job, especially with one of the cuts. I think it's when you see his face, like it's like almost fish-eyed, like really close to his face. That was almost like a 1-to-1 with the manhwa. And it was such a cool shot. Shows like that break in his psyche. We're like, no, I'm killing people now. But yeah, I really want to apologize because I said that and now it makes me sound so dumb. Like, did you even read the manhwa? But we'll see how that keeps going moving forward. But yeah, I think something that's really cool about this fight with the humans is it shows how fast he is against like human characters. Like with the spider, like he was fast, but the spider's so big and he couldn't really make any damage. But then against human characters, he's like a flash. Like you can't even see him. He's on them. I love when he grabs the guy's face and he doesn't even know he's coming and just slams him into the ground. I think it was just, you know, there was so much cool stuff here. And Hiroyuki Sawano again with a great score. This was just like an episode I've been looking forward to. So what do you guys think of maybe the moral aspect of this? Like we talk about the themes with selfishness and selflessness and how that kind of plays a role in what we're seeing with Jin Woo here right now with these people and what it means going forward with the system. You know, he's now like, the system used me, I'm going to use the system. What do you guys think about that moving forward? Like you haven't talked in a minute. How about you got anything on?
I could talk. Yes.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like that whole the selfishness versus selflessness is always going to come into play. I feel like just because I feel like I don't know, morals. Again, I don't know if we ever really like touched down if this is like the show really is that focused or about morals or how important it is, but I think it's pretty important. So I feel like this moment right here really kind of signified a lot, I guess you could say, as far as that. I don't know. I feel like Jin Woo, we've only seen the good in him so far, and so. Like we said, this is dark, but even how you said before, like how you probably didn't even see it as dark when you first read it. Like it's weird. It's like kind of like a weird kind of argument because like he's not being selfish at all. Like you know what I'm saying? Like he's doing what he has to do, and he's doing most definitely what, in terms of like his ability, I feel like he is closer to what were the I don't know, I feel like he's closer to like the more like godly type like figures in this rather than like the fellow hunters. Like he just seems like so much more advanced, and and he's still so early on. I don't know, so I feel like I don't know. I was trying to gather my thoughts together while I'm saying this, so I don't know if I'm making too much sense. No worries. But I don't know. I feel like he, because of this that moral thing, and because he is so strong on the morals from what we've seen, I don't know. I feel like him playing the system the way he is, it's not a bad thing. I you know, I feel like it's what he's supposed to do, like, and like the system itself is telling him that he has to do it. So like then you get to that weird sort of like boundary of like what really is, like, you know, I guess the right thing. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Like, what is the right thing? And they do bring it around nicely at the end of the episode. And they do not redeem him, but like at the end of the episode, he has that line where he's like, "Oh, it's raining. Like, I'm glad I gave her the umbrella," and that like brings you all the way back to like the moment with his sister, where you know he isn't fully lost. You know, like the Jin Woo we appreciated in the first couple episodes when he was the weakest hunter, he's still there. Like, it's still there, but now he just has the opportunity to do much worse things than he did as an E rank. So I thought that was smart of them to put that in the end. And I don't remember if that was in the malware or not, but if it wasn't, it was a really, really good addition. How about you, Vinny?
Yeah. I feel like there's not really much else I can comment. To be honest, I think morality is a very important part in storytelling, and it's a factor that shouldn't be overlooked, or it should be handled with care. So I'm glad that solo leveling is. It seems like they're handling it with care here, and that they're planting the seeds for something to flourish even more. So I've been told that Jin Woo, like via the internet, is one of the coldest characters ever. So, now we're seeing some examples of him being real cold. Yeah. So maybe this evolves. Will he take more lives? Will he, keep going down this path? While I'm talking here, I don't want to kind of go off the topic, but I did want to bring up, just because it's on my mind. We get these cutaways to other hunters talking about hunters, the different guilds, and establishing the world. Different A rank, B rank, higher rank hunters. However, they're talking, these three women, they're at a cafe, and they're talking about the blonde hunter that stopped the motorcycle thievery. So this is just me theory crafting, but they were even among A rank hunters, she was extraordinarily fast. She could defeat a boss on her own. So now I'm thinking in my mind, what if she has the same thing as Jin Woo, where she might have the level up system, and that's why she's so powerful. And even among other A rank hunters, she's still God. She's a rank above them, which is crazy. So that's just me theory crafting.
It's crazy hearing that, because I honestly hadn't even thought about the idea of somebody else having that ability. You know what I'm saying? I've been so focused on my man, Jin Woo, he's different. There's nobody else like him. But that's a really cool sort of theory here, just because I didn't even process the idea that these other hunters could have been in similar experiences, right? And so that's a good theory, is what I'm saying. That's a good theory.
Thank you.
I think her name's Che or Cha or something like that. I forget, but yeah, she's an S rank, and we've seen her kind of cut in throughout these episodes in little itty bitty scenes. So yeah, I'm excited to kind of get more from her in the anime. I think that kind of segues nicely into maybe some other cutaways that we got. We saw the chairman with his assistant training, signifying that the chairman, he has the scars, so you could kind of deduce that he used to be a hunter, he used to be good. But I think it was really cool to see them training, and that his assistant that we've only seen kind of do the administrative tasks, also trying to push himself to be kind of a hunter. We don't really know what he's ranked, where he is within the Hunter Association, but we get one of those cutaway scenes to build the world a bit more. We get the three girls talking about the different guilds. We have the White Tiger Guild, we have the Hunter Guild, and then I don't know if they mention another one, but again, just building out the world of S ranks, A ranks, all these different rankings, and how the world is set up for to take down dungeons. What did you guys enjoy the world building here? I know you kind of talked about the girls at that point. What did you guys kind of take away from these cutaway scenes that, for me, sometimes feel a bit kind of shoehorned into episodes, but I think in the grand scale they are trying to build up the world while also building up Jin Woo in these episodes.
I think I feel like it didn't really affect me as much. I definitely do kind of feel. I definitely feel there's a similar emotion where it feels a little shoehorned in, almost like it's a throwaway, but I know they're trying to do something here, and seeing the unique details, especially about the woman I just mentioned, that excites me. Even the chairman too. Like the chairman punched him. I forget exactly what happened, but he left that debris like behind, and like the wood planks of where they were fighting just like was shooken and like erupted out of the ground. So he's really powerful. So, maybe we see him in action, This it definitely I'm going back to that metaphor again, planting the seeds, and I'm excited to see them flourish. So, yeah.
I really appreciated the world building. Usually I am on the same page where I feel like a lot of this stuff is kind of shoehorned in here. It was for this episode a little bit, but after the fact, I could kind of appreciate how they utilize certain things this time. It kind of is just kind of like hinting and like kind of showing just how important in this world these ranks and like the guild and everything just really is, and how focused people are on this and how much they're striving to be the best within these ranks and stuff like that. But it's like it's all people seem to talk about, whereas for like Jin Woo, he just kind of has it easy. Like not you know what I'm saying? Like so I appreciate it in that aspect where it kind of just like showed again the layer of how important this is and how subtle it is for him. It's like not like a big thing, but it is still such an important thing. I also feel like it helped the seeing how like nobody on the team believed that like he like even like they all think that he's like still this like what is the ranking again?
Yeah. Oh, you mean like at the end when they were like, who destroyed the dungeon? And he's like, you're an E rank. And okay. I forgot about that part.
Yeah, so I feel like it kind of just plays into like this whole like okay, like this is gonna be really important, and nobody sees him like as like that great that they're all trying to be essentially. But again, he is that, and he could be better than that at this point. And so, and the sake of the world building, again, that's I could appreciate those cutaways, just kind of feeding that information that these ranks aren't going anywhere. This is going to be an important part of this show, no matter what. Who knows? Maybe the reason we could be seeing this is because Jin Woo to do something that kind of destroys a right system in itself. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Like I feel like just because he's like OD powerful, like he really is like super powerful, and so I don't know. I feel like again, I appreciated it to a degree. There were there were moments where I was like, "Give me back to the action!" like come on. But it is building, so I appreciated that part.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about Jin Ho at this point? Being his little like sidekick and the comedic moments we have in this episode with those two.
So I actually, Mikey, you reminded me of one of the funniest scenes, in my opinion, from the show thus far is when like Jin Ho, he thinks he purposely is like, he describes that there's a group of people who fake their ranks, who are able to control their power. So when they do the reading, they come up as a lower rank, and then they go in and kill like people for enjoyment, for fun. And that also is like another world building like little seed that might grow into something. Like, what if we encounter people who genuinely are just like serial killers, but with the power of like a hunter? Right. So that might be really interesting. But I thought it was very funny when Jin Ho like genuinely thought he was like going in there with murderous intent and like and calling him boss boss. Mining the stones for him, like, oh, I got it, don't worry. So
yeah. Jin Ho's great, and we get a little bit more backstory with him, how his father is this CEO of a construction company, so that's why he's able to afford this $1 million gear. And I just think he's like a great sidekick, and I like how they've introduced him so far. They haven't made him the typical like comedic relief, over the top anime sidekick. I think that he's really, he makes a really important decision here where they're like, oh, you can join our group, we won't kill you, you just have to kill Jin Woo. Of course, in that moment he's like, there's no way I can kill him, so there's a part of him that probably does it for survival, but there's another part of him that felt the connection with him and is like, no, I don't want to kill my friend here. At least I think he's my he's my friend and not a false rancor. But yeah, how about you with Jin-Ho?
I really like his character a lot. I feel like he represents almost like a sort of like childish sort of personality. Not even childish. It's more so just like he reminds me of like a young guy with a lot of money, and so that's what he is basically.
Yeah, super privileged.
Exactly. It's so but I feel like it's needed in this world, especially with a character like Jin Woo, just because I feel like it kind of adds a layer to it, like showing that like obviously like he has like all of this fancy suiting and everything, and like you could have all the money in the world, and you still won't be as hard as Jin Woo, basically. And so I appreciated all of the moments, honestly, with him and Jin Woo together. It was hilarious. Like you said, how he like kind of just like immediately like was like, boss, yes, here, like whatever I could do to help. That was so funny. I find it really funny too how it's like I mean, not that it's funny, but it made sense how it's like people also immediately would think that he's like the best because of his appearance. And so I love that sort of like don't judge a book by its cover sort of thing, which is also kind of benefiting Jin Woo's case in not having anything, don't judge a book by its cover. And so I feel like he is going to play an important role in this, whether he is just like a funny relief sort of friend sidekick sort of thing. But I do see their relationship kind of growing strong. I could see them becoming like a sort of best friend duo sort of type. You could say.
Yeah. Back to the massacre. How did you guys feel about kind of where they leave off with the leader of their group being killed and threatening Jin Woo? Like, what do you guys have any theories going forward about, like, in his last moments he's like, you don't even know who my brother, and then he gets killed, and then we get the end of the episode. What are you guys theory crafting there? We get the shot of his brother, the sun sets, and then the episode cuts. What did you guys think about that? Vinny looks like he didn't even remember that happened until right now.
I'm gonna be real. I didn't even catch that.
Okay. Okay. All right. Mikey, anything?
I thought it was I thought it was pretty important, honestly. Like we only saw a bat shot of homie at the last.
Pause.
But pause. Hold up, rewind.
Reminded me of that Lil Wayne tweet where it's like back shots go crazy.
But
please continue.
Yes. Yes. So we saw the shot of the mysterious figure's back in that shot, and what's it called? It was, but you could still see like the how powerful that character was. It was like literally a split second we saw it, but you could tell that it's gonna be a significant sort of villainous, I guess you could say, character, and I genuinely think that it could be somebody that kind of meets like his like. It's like he meets his match almost. I feel like he's gonna, whether that is a situation where they're like going off of your theory, where maybe there are other people that have like this leveling up ability, and like who knows, maybe this guy has it, and like it's like now it's like now you have like the level uppers having to fight each other. But I don't know. I liked it a lot, and I liked how they kind of like it was also shoehorned in there. I could see how it was kind of like quick, when they did that. But I liked how they did that just because it was subtle, and so I feel like, okay, we killed this guy off. I don't know, like he said it but it was like his last final words. Like how important could that be? But no, like it could be like something huge, and he just like sprinkled it in there. We're gonna see it soon. So I really liked that, but I mostly liked that 1 second shot just because I was like, I haven't seen anything, and I already know this guy could be crazy. So
Right.
yeah, it could be crazy.
It was definitely a blink or miss it if you blink moment. And I appreciate that, the way that they're setting that up. So yeah, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that moment. I think the only other thing I wanted to bring up was, I guess, going back to the Jin Woo massacre thing. Did you guys feel like he was enjoying it? Like he had the blood splatter on him, and he was killing them with prejudice. Like he could have easily just cut their heads off like quickly, but the two guys he poisons with the blade, and then they suffer, and then he slices them. Did you guys kind of like? Did you take note of that? Were you like, whoa?
Yeah. So I definitely, going back to like what we said when talking about like the concept of morality here, is that I definitely felt like he was taking some sort of enjoyment from this. And I was talking about before in our discussion how I don't know if this is going to grow, and if it does grow, we might see like evil Jin Woo. So that's that's really exciting. It's really exciting. It's also what's the word? Scary, I guess, because we're going into a similar we're going into one direction. So if we do see an evil Jin Woo, how will his sister react? How will Jin Ho react? How does that affect the people around him? So definitely some seeds being planted. Also, just real quick, I also really like how we're finally seeing the poison from the Fang blade like actually show up. Because I remember we talked about it in a previous episode that it has like a poison effect, which is really cool, because in this episode we see like it hits a human and then like choking up blood, and that was really cool. I was very satisfied with seeing that. So
I do think that just start your engines.
We got some noise outside the studio.
Yeah. What's it called? I do think that to a degree, yes. I do think he liked it. I think it was, I don't know if the difference between how much he liked it and how much he was just like impressed with himself, like, oh snap, like I'm done to doing this. But at the same time, I can see it getting to his head. I can see that, like, all this power, like it's a very easy thing to do. And so I could see an evil version of him coming out. I didn't even think about how it could affect also, like, extended to people, like the whole mom story. I honestly completely forgot about that. And I did. So like that could also really that could also really play a major role in that. But I do think that like each episode, like unfortunately, like he is getting like super like strong, like he's getting stronger and cooler, I guess you could say too. But I do think that we are witnessing a little bit of this like evilness kind of coming out of him. Whether he kind of takes that to a full sort of reign where he's like I have the power, I can do whatever I want. I don't know if we'll ever see that. I don't know. I think that he's coming off of the past episodes, knowing how strong he's been with his morals. I don't know if we'll ever see him reach that point where he's like just like an evil version. But I do like a little bit of evil in him.
Just a little
bit. Yes, I do. I feel like we need it just because it's just also to his character at this point. It's in his ability. It's I feel like
it's a way to fight back against the world that was unfair to him.
Exactly.
It's almost like he was, in that moment he was like, these guys wronged me and I was never able to do anything about it in the past. I'm going to do something about it right now. That's, kind of how I took it in this adaptation, which I thought was really cool. And yeah, the scene with the poisoning, I love how they synced the music, kind of like the beat like kept coming up as like the poison thing kept popping. It was like paralysis. I was like, oh my god, that's insane. But yeah, I like how he kind of accepted like when he was dying or against the wall, and he accepted it, and that's like the first time we see him like ooze that like black power that kind of comes off of him. And, you know, in that moment, he's like, you don't realize like I've been leveling up this whole time. Like every kill I just got right there made me faster, made me stronger. And I thought that was such an insane moment. And I like these moments where he just accepts his power and it's illustrated like in the animation. So yeah, really cool. Really excited to see where this goes. So this is the halfway point actually. That's pretty crazy. So this was episode 6. So halfway point. I am very curious to see where they end this season. Like what's the cutoff point? But yeah, do you guys have anything else before we wrap this up? I think we hit everything, but I want to give you guys the floor if you have any other thoughts.
No, I'm good. I'm good for me. Yeah,
I think I'm good too. Actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Well, thank you guys for watching. If you don't already follow us at Cinema Wave Media on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Threads, as well as at _Culture Wave Media, where you can also find us on Instagram. Hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. I'm Mark Jacobino signing off.
And I'm Vinny Albano.
And I'm Michael Peniston.
Peace out, everyone.